We weren't about anti-war. We were about sex, drugs, rock and roll. That's what we were about. Well, my name is Kurt Kangus. I've been known by Crowbar for the last 50 years. That's a whole nother story we can talk about, but right now I'm 70. I just turned 70. I came to San Francisco. Well, I lived in Marin County. I was brought up in San Francisco and Marin, and went to high school at Redwood High School, and then in 1966 I moved to San Francisco. Lived on the street, pretty much. Didn't have any place to crash, didn't know anybody. I had heard that there was a scene going on there. I came there to find truth. I wanted to know the truth of where life comes from. Where do we come from? Of course, LSD was the accelerant that took us into, it showed us that there was other things going on. I mean, you could drop acid and look at a tree and see the molecules moving. You know, see that, hey, that tree is a living thing.
First thing that became apparent was that the LSD Love Fest had not attracted what you would call a conventional crowd. Let's move in over here a little bit, Bernie.
I ran a store on Hay Street, actually 3 stores, called the Sundance Incense and Trading Company, and I was there from 1966 to 1978. That's 12 years of watching hate, the hate street, watching the migration of people, watching the hippies come and go. The hippie movement really only lasted about 2 years, maybe 3. That was it. It was started in 66, and some people will say it started in 63. But I would say that it really became strong in 1966, and then by 1968 it was done, over with. And soon Haight-Ashbury turned into a desolate dump. It was a dumping ground for heroin addicts, and very sad to see these 16-year-old children on heroin lying in the streets. I mean, it got really bad, it got really horrible, and people dying, young kids dying on the street from overdoses. And I was there during that time. I wasn't there at night because our store was open at daytime, but you could see it. You could see what happened to the Haight. A lot of people that lived in the Haight, about 1967, they moved out, and they because they saw what was happening there. The good times and the good part of the Haight-Ashbury left. So did they. And they moved into Marin, and they just kept coming north and further north, and they just dispersed because they wanted to get away from that energy that was in the Haight. So a lot of stores closed down, a lot of people, like I said, it turned really bad. And I lived in Novato. I was raising a family then. I had gotten married and had 2 children, and so that's where my attention was on. Pretty much stopped taking any bad drugs and paid attention to my family. It's only now in the past 20 years that many of our family members have come back together again. And we had all come back together, did a full circle. In other words, we've lived our life. There's a song, it's a funny song called First I Was a Hippie, Then I Was a Stockbroker, Now I Am a Hippie Again.
So welcome, please, the Bobs.
First I was a hippie, then I was a stockbroker, now I am a hippie again. First I was a hippie, then I was a stockbroker, now I am a hippie again. Na 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 na. In the summer of love, I was mellow and high.
And it's a full circle of what happened and what is happening now. A lot of my friends were hippies, long-haired drug users. Then they stopped that world. They got married, and they went and had a respectable job, salesman job, cut their hair short, lived a straight life, and now their kids are gone, and they're retiring, and they're starting to grow their hair back, and they're calling me up going, "Hey, Crowbar, I haven't smoked a joint in 30 years, man. You got one?" You know, and people are like getting back into it again. And I guess because of what it stands for, that phrase, the summer of love, the impact that would have would be to remind us of the message that we tried to convey to the world. And that is love. Love one another. You know, and there's a lot of evil in this world. There's a lot of darkness. There is probably more darkness and more evil than there is good. And so about the only thing you can do is you can't change the world, but you can change you. And to me, that's the revolution. Is if you want love, if you want peace, then you must have love and you must have peace. And what's important to me, more important than anything, is the legacy that I leave personally. When I die, I want people to speak favorably, where people go up there and say, you know, Crowbar really was a lover of humanity. And I do, I love everybody. And that doesn't mean I have to like them, but I love everybody. So that's my personal theory. That's where you said, how did the summer of love affect me or affect people? Well, that's the effect it left on me.